Brought to you by the Southpaw Platform. America's housing system did not break overnight. It unraveled through a century of choices that treated shelter like an investment vehicle instead of a human necessity. The story starts in the early 1900s, when crowded tenements and boomtowns forced the country to confront a truth: people cannot build stable lives without stable shelter. During the New Deal era, the federal government finally stepped into housing at scale. It built public housing, created new finance tools, and tried to stabilize a market that had collapsed in the Great Depression. But the same period also planted a poison seed: policy and lending rules that rewarded segregation, punished mixed neighborhoods, and locked wealth-building homeownership behind racial and geographic gates. After World War II, the United States chose a housing model tied to highways, suburbs, and private mortgages. The GI Bill helped many families buy homes, and the Federal Housing Administration expanded mortgage access, but the benefits were not evenly distributed. Zoning rules and lending discrimination turned the American dream into a neighborhood-specific privilege. Public housing became a political punching bag, then a budget target, then a shrinking lifeboat. Cities bulldozed working-class neighborhoods under the banner of urban renewal, while replacement housing lagged behind. Later, Section 8 vouchers helped some families, but the country never built enough permanently affordable homes to match demand. By the time the 1980s and 1990s arrived, housing policy leaned harder toward markets and away from guarantees. Federal support for public and social housing declined while private finance expanded. The result was predictable: rents rose faster than incomes. Then came the 2008 crash, when speculative lending and financial engineering detonated household wealth across the country. Millions lost homes, while large investors learned they could buy neighborhoods like portfolios and rent them back to the same communities that used to own them. Housing financialization turned shelter into a commodity traded. Today the math is brutal. Rents and home prices have outpaced wages for years, and families are getting squeezed from every direction. When housing costs eat your paycheck, one setback becomes a one-way slide. When rent becomes a trap, homelessness becomes the end of the line. According to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, about 771,480 people experienced homelessness on a single night in January 2024, an increase of roughly 18% from the year before. The United States is rich enough to end street homelessness, yet it still treats homelessness like a personal failure instead of a policy outcome. The truth is simpler. When housing is scarce, expensive, and unstable, people fall out of it. Meanwhile, many other countries face the same pressures and chose a different path. They built systems where housing is treated as infrastructure, not a lottery. They built enough permanently affordable homes to keep markets from choking entire cities. And they back those systems with enforcement, planning, and scale. Vienna is the blueprint for social housing done at scale. The city built a massive stock of municipal and publicly supported homes, and it keeps expanding it so the market cannot choke the whole city. When you build enough permanently affordable homes, you do not fight speculation with speeches, you outbuild it with policy. Singapore is the proof that government can deliver mass housing without chaos. Public housing there is the backbone of national housing, built and managed at scale with long-term planning. That did not happen by hoping private developers would do the right thing. It happened because the state treated housing like nation building. Finland is the clearest case that ending homelessness is possible with the right philosophy. Housing First flipped the script by giving people stable housing first, then wrapping services around that stability. Finland's approach is widely recognized as a reason it has achieved sustained reductions in long-term homelessness over the last 2 decades. Japan shows what happens when a country normalizes compact, efficient living and builds around transit. Smaller units, smarter layouts, and dense neighborhoods can keep more people indoors without demanding suburban sprawl. When space is treated as precious, design becomes a housing policy tool. The Netherlands shows the power of national planning and regulated stability. When housing is treated like infrastructure, planned, funded, and delivered over time, shortages become solvable math instead of mysteries. Stability is not accidental, it is designed. France added a powerful legal weapon: an enforceable right to housing. The DALO law, adopted in 2007, allows eligible people to assert a right to housing against the state when they cannot secure adequate housing on their own. The idea is simple: if housing is a right, the system must be accountable when it fails. Some places also built stronger legal duties on government to secure accommodation, so homelessness is treated as a solvable systems problem, not a personal label. Rights without enforcement become slogans. Enforceable duties create outcomes. Across these models, the ingredients repeat. Build large-scale social housing that stays affordable forever. guarantee housing access quickly so people never sleep outside, and make the system accountable when it fails. Because the real test is not what a country promises. The test is what happens when someone needs a key tonight. Then there is the part the United States barely touches: architectural speed. Many countries deploy compact solutions, micro apartments, modular builds, rapid conversions, and short stay rooms, so that a roof tonight is not a promise, it is a fact. When the goal is no street sleeping, you use every tool, from tiny homes to converted hotels to tube hotel style micro suites and modular communities built in months. That brings us to our system. This is not a patchwork of pilots or a charity program that disappears when the news cycle moves on. This is a national housing guarantee built from proven global policies, scaled with American capacity, and executed with crisis urgency. This is AmeriHome. A system designed to guarantee a safe, dignified place to live for every person in the United States. A system built to end homelessness first, then crush rent traps, then retire the eviction economy. AmeriHome begins with one absolute rule: no one sleeps outside. Not in a tent, not in a car, not under a freeway, not on a hospital bench, not on the street. If you are here, you are housed, and the timeline is measured in days, not decades. Phase 1 is the emergency housing guarantee, and it begins immediately. The federal government will rapidly acquire and convert existing buildings into housing: unused hotels, vacant office floors, empty commercial properties, and surplus government facilities. Private rooms, hygiene, safety, and on-site support will become standard, because shelter that feels like punishment is not a solution. Phase 2 is the rapid build surge, and it is designed for speed. AmeriHome will deploy modular micro-units, tiny home villages, and compact sleep-to-stability communities that can be installed fast and expanded block by block. These are not forever houses on day one, they are dignified homes that end street sleeping while the long-term supply is built. AmeriHome will borrow Vienna's central lesson: supply is power. A national social housing authority will be created to build and maintain permanently affordable housing at scale. Homes built under AmeriHome will stay affordable forever, protected from speculation by design. Eligibility will be universal because housing security is universal. AmeriHome will not be reserved only for those who qualify through paperwork gauntlets. The baseline guarantee will be available to anyone who needs it, with prioritization for those currently unsheltered, at risk of eviction, escaping violence, aging out of foster care, or returning from incarceration. The AmeriHome baseline will be free. A safe, private, modest home with a lock, a bed, and a stable address will cost nothing at the point of use. This is the core guarantee: shelter is not something you earn by suffering, it is something you receive because you are human. To protect freedom and choice, AmeriHome will allow upgrades. If you want a larger unit, a different neighborhood, or a private market option, you will be able to choose it. But the baseline guarantee will ensure nobody is trapped outside or trapped in unsafe conditions because of money. Housing first will be the operating philosophy for homelessness. People will not be required to be sober first, employed first, or stable first in order to qualify for stability. The housing will come first, and then services will follow: medical care, mental health support, addiction treatment, job training, and benefits navigation. Because people do not heal in chaos, administration will be designed for speed. One application, one eligibility standard, one national dashboard for inventory, referrals, vacancies, and wait times. Local implementation will be funded and measured, but it will not be strangled by 1,000 competing rules. Zoning and permitting will be modernized with urgency. Cities that block housing through exclusionary zoning will lose access to key federal funds, and cities that legalize multifamily housing, micro-units, and adaptive reuse will be rewarded. If a community refuses to allow the housing its people need, it cannot demand federal money while exporting homelessness to the street. AmeriHome will also attack the rent trap directly. A national renter stability package will cap abusive rent hikes, strengthen tenant protections, and create emergency eviction defense. Eviction is not just a housing event, it is a health event, a job event, and a child development event. And now the boldest goal: forgiveness. AmeriHome will pursue a phased national transition away from mortgage and rent burdens, because a society cannot call itself advanced while millions work just to keep a roof. The transition will be deliberate, structured, and anchored to real capacity. First, AmeriHome will offer federal refinancing and buyouts that replace predatory terms with fair, stable, low-cost payment structures. Second, AmeriHome will create a mortgage-to-equity conversion pathway where the federal government can purchase and retire mortgages over time, turning households into outright owners without a lifetime of interest. Third, AmeriHome will expand social housing until it becomes the dominant option for working families, and when the affordable supply is massive, rent will lose its power as a weapon and become a choice, not a threat. As that supply grows, broad rent and mortgage relief will be phased in until burdens disappear. This is how the housing payment trap ends without creating chaos or displacement. This is how people stop living one late payment away from disaster. And as the careers department expands opportunity and wages, the timeline will accelerate. The goal is not only to house the unhoused. The goal is to end the economic terror of housing for everyone. AmeriHome will build with 21st century tools. Modular factories will produce units at scale, and adaptive reuse will turn empty offices into homes where people can actually live. Compact living designs, micro-units, co-living suites, and short-stay rooms will be used as transitional options so tonight is never in doubt. Long-term, AmeriHome will pursue visionary infrastructure the way nations pursue megaprojects. If other countries can plan new cities and massive linear developments, the United States can plan human-first communities that integrate housing, transit, green space, healthcare access, and education in one connected system. The point is not a futuristic gimmick, the point is that America can build big when it chooses to. AmeriHome will also protect community stability. It will fund repair programs for aging housing stock, expand accessibility retrofits, and prevent displacement by giving residents first rights to return when neighborhoods are rebuilt. Development will no longer mean removal. The metrics will be public. Unsheltered homelessness will be driven toward zero. Evictions will fall. Rent burden will fall. Stability will rise, and with stability comes the payoff. Kids do better in school. Workers keep jobs. Health improves. Communities stop bleeding. This is not charity. It is infrastructure. When people have stable housing, they use fewer emergency services, they miss fewer workdays, and they can actually climb. AmeriHome is how we end the most visible moral failure in America, people sleeping outside in a nation of abundance. It is how we take the best of Vienna's supply power, Singapore's delivery capacity, Finland's housing first compassion, and France's enforceable rights. And it is how we build the future, a country where homelessness is not normal, where rent is not a life sentence, and where shelter is guaranteed. I'm Ryan Guerrero, and I'm running for California's 18th Congressional District. I approve this message.